I'm trucking on, and I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line, another town will do me fine. I'm trucking on, I'm trucking on.
Howdy, friends, and welcome to Truckin' On. I'm your host, Ward Richmond. I really appreciate you tuning in today, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Here we are.
We rolling like a big 18-wheeler.
Mano y mano.
Mano y mano. Appreciate you coming down to, check out what we're doing here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So we've been working together for a while now.
Yeah.
About half a year.
Is that what it is?
I think we've had about 6 sessions.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, Grant is currently my executive coach. So we've been doing one-on-one coaching for about 6 months, and that's 1 hour coaching sessions. And
I remember the first session where you started telling me some stuff, and then you're like, do you think you can even work with me?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't know. But I think what's been the most valuable thing about that is you give me advice that's really just some small shifts to make in life that create massive change. And
I remember that one session we were doing where you were like, oh my God, your eyeballs just got like, oh my God, because we were talking scripts and openings and handling your client, and you were just like, that's why I do this, because that reward for me from the ward.
Yes, the ward.
That was awesome, dude. That was the moment of that's how I get paid. Like, to see somebody like, oh my God, I'm gonna put that in and it's gonna help, and
And you have big ideas about things that a lot of people probably know if they follow you religiously, but things like I was building a pool last year when we first met, and I've completed that pool. I own a house.
He didn't take that advice from you.
I did not. And one of my goals before I met you was build a backyard oasis, and that brought that to fruition last year. I'm fired up about it. But you did give me something that I constantly think about, and you said, "Hey, man, why are you doing that? Like, you're just complicating your life. You don't need to be doing that, and you don't need to be investing in a home because." That a home's not going to be cash flowing, it's not going to be making money for you, so you want to take that money from a home, go put it into something that cash flows, and then go rent a beautiful place with a beautiful pool that you don't even have to build or worry about.
You don't have to do the architect, the design, or anything.
Yeah,
because look, everybody, I think it's the fantasy of the magazines that we grew up with, and now Instagram, is that everybody has their retreat place or the oasis, the big trip they're going to take, that somehow I'm going to go buy a moment of bliss, and that's what all the hard work was for. And I used to think somewhat similar, like I bought a house in La Jolla on the ocean. I'm like, oh, this house is going to make me happy, and it did. I mean, I loved that house. I loved being there. I loved the location. It was awesome, but the work makes me happy.
Yeah.
It's the contributing to other people that makes me happy. It's somebody else having an aha moment saying, man, that's going to change my business or change my life. And then, when we started traveling, particularly in the last 2 years, I was like, I don't want to own one place. There's all these fascinating, unbelievable places to go to. And I was thinking I needed a little oasis with an address that I went to every night, over and over, that somehow that was going to make me happy. That's why I was working all day to go to this one place. When the truth is, there's 1,000 places people can go to if they just put in the work. Don't waste the money. Like, a house is not a good investment. Anybody that's not trying to make themselves right, because I have arguments with people constantly. I'm like, okay, I'm done talking about it.
Right.
You can be right, and I'll be wrong if you want me to be wrong. You go back to your house, it's such a good investment, but Warren Buffett bought one,
Right.
Like, nobody ever got rich. Nobody ever had financial freedom because they bought a house.
Right.
Like, that's my point. It's like, And people should, and I am so pro real estate. Like I got real estate agents that are hating on me right now because they're like, "You're talking people out of houses." No, I'm not. I'm talking people into real estate.
You're saying buy them and rent them. Don't buy them and live in them.
Yeah, buy them and rent them out.
Yeah.
And rent where you live. Go rent some spanky, swanky, crazy, stupid, ridiculous. Spend more money on rent than you would your house, and use the money from the house to go buy places where people pay you rent.
Right. Yeah.
And that will create an oasis in your mind. Like I have. The one thing that people don't see on me, they see the jet and the cars and the fancy and the watches, and they think I'm showing off. But what people can't see is I have this financial oasis in my mind that nothing can happen to me.
Yeah.
Like that causes me as much angst as I have in my life, and I'm working and pushing. I have this thing in my head like, dude, I'm good no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Because that real estate takes care of me, not the businesses that I'm pounding and like you work hard and you're getting an appointment and you're getting in front of a guy and the disappointments and the discouragements and the objections and the problems and all the things that go on with life, all the drama. I got this one little oasis in my head that says everything's going to be fine financially, at least financially.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So we've discussed substance abuse. And I know you have a history with that. I used to be a big time drinker. I was the kind of drinker that people wanted to hang out with me because they thought I was so cool because I could drink so much. Like it wasn't a lot of people telling me you have a problem. I wasn't rock bottom like you talk about how you were. I was winning awards at work. Now, was I a high performer? Not necessarily. In the eyes of some people I might have been, but I knew inside me that something was holding me back. So I quit alcohol almost 4 years ago on December 29th. So when you quit, so you had some experience with alcohol, drugs, and that was a big turning point for you when you cut that out. And what I noticed when I cut it out is I had newfound ambition, and I always had ambition. So don't get me wrong, it didn't zap out my ambition. I had a lot, but then I had a lot more. And there's this energy, right? And you direct your energy towards something like that, and it's going to, you're going to be focused on. I really think alcoholics, drug addicts, people with really addictive personalities have abnormal amounts of energy and to a certain degree, but you direct it towards this thing because maybe you can't handle it. But then when you redirect it, I found it's been extremely beneficial in all aspects of my life. So can you speak to how that transformation occurred?
So like I had a problem with drugs, and drugs was really the problem. Now that being said, like I could drink too much alcohol too, but the alcohol opened me up to the drug thing. And the next thing you know, nobody plans on being an alcoholic or a drug addict.
Right.
You don't start saying, I'm going to end up in meetings or a rehab, or people are going to be worried about me, or they're going to talk about how Grant can drink so much, or how he's fallen down, or whatever. Like nobody starts planning that. That's not the plan, as you know. Look, it was a problem for me. And you said you were on a plant-based diet. I'm like, oh, you smoking cannabis? I thought that meant you were on drugs or something, So
broccoli.
And like even weed. Like I never did anything bad when I was on weed. I never wrecked a car on weed. I never hurt anybody on weed. Like I always wondered, why are they throwing people in jail because of weed? But the weed opened me up to all the other stuff. That was the gateway for me. And again, like anybody listening, right? Whatever you want to do is fine. You want to shoot heroin in your arm, okay? Whatever you want to do. That's your life, your arm, your body.
Probably don't do that, but
wasn't good for me.
Yeah.
Wasn't good for me.
Right.
And it doesn't appear to be good for people, even when you watch it in the movies. Like it just doesn't look good on people.
No.
Right? So, and don't do it in Singapore, because they will kill you if you do that there. If you get caught with heroin in Singapore, you're executed the same way.
Really?
Yeah, I think eighth of an ounce or something. There's got to be a certain minimum amount. But anyway, as I digress here, the energy thing that you're talking about is very interesting to me, because I think everybody's an addict. I think everybody has the ability to be addictive, and should. Like they should literally harness that resource. Like when I say that, I think about my sister Diane. She's very proper, very right, very great grades in school, valedictorian, did all the things right. She's the right.
She was the good child.
She's the good child, right? Then here I am, black sheep.
The parents weren't all worried about her.
Never worried about her.
Very proud of her, yeah.
But like when she rolls into something, if she would roll in all the way, we would find she's got addictive qualities too. And the people that can harness that, the thing about a drug addiction, if you recover from it, now you know, oh, dude, I can be obsessive.
Yeah.
I can go overboard. Like, so many people never discover that part. That's the beautiful part about the drug addiction. Like, you get to discover, you get to go tiptoe with death.
Right.
Like, I overdosed three or four times.
Wow.
Like, I was that far from somebody who had to wake me up. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So when you have that experience, I ended up in a treatment center when I was 25. There was a guy named Ben there. I think his name was Ben. He had been to 3 treatment centers. He was 52. He was a wreck, dude, shaking.
Yeah.
Like, seeing that was important for me. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be a shaker, and I don't want to be 52 and back here a third time.
Yeah.
So, and when I got home, I had to convert all this energy. I needed to convert my addictive energy, all the drugs and the waste of time, because there was so much time wasted. I didn't even know how much time I was wasting.
Right.
And I think that's what you're talking about. The next day, when you stopped December 29th, you're like, the next week, you're like, what?
What's going on here? What
Dude,
do you
I
do?
got so much time.
And especially when you get back in just the life and you're not having a glass of wine at lunch and then going, hey, let's meet for happy hour at 3 or 4 in a patio somewhere and drink some margaritas. And you have all that time free up, and then the energy that you have the next morning from not doing all that, and it compounds. And yeah, for sure. So I've always called it alcoholic energy, but I see what you're saying now. I think everyone has
Dude,
it.
It was there. It was there. You had just used it for something else, right? It got diverted, and then you start figuring out how to practice. That's why athletes do so well, or people in the Marines or the military. They get on this regiment, and then once you build the discipline, whether it's drinking, drugs, work, working out, kid time, like when you replace it. Yeah. See, for me, drugs was, I went to drugs because I was bored.
Yeah.
I was drinking in the afternoons.
Definitely.
I was bored, dude. I needed deals.
I drank because I was bored, and then I think I quit drinking a big reason because I got bored of drinking. It wasn't serving me anymore,
Yeah.
You drink for 20 years, it's excessively, it gets boring. You don't have as much fun
and
going to a bar when you're 37 with a bunch of 24-year-olds as you did when you were a 24-year-old.
Yeah. And it starts banging the body up too.
Yeah,
like you can't keep pouring alcohol into the body, and like even today, if I have a glass of wine today, I wake up the next day, I got a hangover.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, people do this every day.
I lost 50 pounds, and since I quit drinking, and I mean,
you look great, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm 6'4", so I hit it well.
Yeah,
it wasn't like I looked like I wasn't a giant. People probably wouldn't describe me as fat. I was just a big guy. But I lose 50 pounds and I just feel so much better. I mean, I was, anyway, it's been good, and that's great. So when I first quit, I heard about this guy that is a former colleague, now semi-competitor, but a friend of mine in the same industry, does the same thing. And I heard that he had grossed $2 million the year before in doing what we do, and that's a lot of money. It was substantially more than he did when we used to work together. So I heard this, and I'd never even grossed $1 million before. So I heard this guy grossed $2 million. It's like,
what's he doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I called him immediately. This is that new energy going to work. I just called him. Hey, can we have lunch?
Yeah, right.
How'd you do that, man? And so he had hired a coach. So my next call, right after lunch, I called that coach, hired him. And then that year, I busted $1 million the first time, and then set a goal to do $2 million, and then busted that a couple years later. Once understanding some things, but it's coaching.
Yeah,
that's why we're here. You're my coach right now. I believe in hiring coaches. They made a huge impact in my life. So, have you had some coaches along the way, and do you currently have coaches? How does Grant Cardone invest in his own personal development?
Yeah,
is my
so
question.
look, I spend a lot of time and money in researching what other people are doing that works.
Yeah.
So whether hiring a coach is the cheapest, easiest, fastest way to do it. You come over here, you tap into me. Most of the time, like when you're trying to reach for somebody that's doing something big, like they're not making their services available.
Right.
Because it's not, the exchange really doesn't work. I spent 3 months with a guy who just sold his company for $4 billion. That was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
It cost me millions of dollars to do that.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't want money. You can't give a guy money.
Right.
He's worth $4 billion. Like, what am I going to give him?
Yeah.
There's nothing I'm going to give him that moves his bar. So I got to figure out, how do I move his bar? How do I help him service him? And I didn't want 1 hour with him. I just wanted to be in the space for a while.
Hanging out with him.
And sometimes it was like nothing happened. It was just a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
But there'd be moments.
And this is recent?
This was maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
And you go into it, there's no agenda. Like, he doesn't know I'm coming in for coaching. He doesn't know I'm coming in to hang in the ether. Everybody is. Everybody wants in this guy's space.
Yeah.
But I figured out how to maneuver into it, spend some time with him to serve it like it was,
You're creating value for him.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And you get to know him through the process.
Yeah. But there's no agenda. Like, we're going to sit down and talk today.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was 3 years ago. I was already fairly successful. Like, but now I got to put myself in kind of a subservient situation where I'm like, what can I get you? How can I help you? What can I, I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
And then whatever's left over, I get to like observe, look through, pick through, and decide what fits for me. And so, I just started, like, every day when I would spend time with him, I was looking at, okay, what's this guy doing? When's he looking at his cash accounts? What's it look like? I remember asking him, dude, I want to see your bank balances. And he's like, what? I said, I want to see the money. I got close enough with him where I could just be myself, right?
Right.
I said, I want to see the money.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, sure, man, no problem. Here, he opened the account up. I'm like, oh my God, this changed my life. I saw $648 million in one account. I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't even, like, the first time I saw it, is that 648,000? No, it was $648 million. I was like, whoa. Another day he lost, I think he lost 20 or $30 million in the stock market. I'm like, wow, dude, that's crazy. We were on our way to the ABC Islands. I was flying him out there, and I thought the 20 or 30 million was a big deal. Next day, he loses 200 million in one day.
Did you tell him to get all this money out of the stock market and put it into multifamily?
No, you never give these guys advice
Right.
like that. They look at you like, you're stupid, dude. Okay, because he already scored. He knows what his score is, right? He's not a real estate guy either. What he is, he takes companies, builds them up into cash flow machines, and then sells them.
Okay.
He's not a stock guy either.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting phenomenon, because here he's watching the stock market every day, but that's not how he made his money. I even told him that one day. I said, you didn't make your money doing this.
Yeah.
We became friends. The relationship shifted.
Yeah.
And towards the end of this trip, it was like, I'm his buddy, and I could tell him anything.
Yeah.
And he had respect for me, and so it was a really cool relationship. But one day I watched him lose $200 million. I was like, and I'm watching the guy. Like, when a guy's losing $200 million one day, you don't say much to him.
Right.
You're just like, maybe you just leave him
Want a
alone,
drink?
okay? You want a drink? No, I don't drink. You want a drink? You want heroin? and the guy looked at me and says, "Oh, by the way, this guy, he told me a story about alcohol. He was driving. He was in Santa Barbara. He was driving home to Santa Barbara one day from his office 20 years ago, and said he was thinking about the wine he was going to drink when he got to his house, and that was the day he quit drinking wine. He's like, it was preoccupying.
Smart.
I was spending time thinking about something I was going to do, and he's like, that wasn't good for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Smart takeaway, right? So anyway, the day he lost 200 million, I said, man, like, I'm watching the guy, not even bothered by it.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't appear to be bothered. Maybe he is on the inside, I don't know.
I'm sure he has that financial oasis in his head too, to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, he's like, I can't get hurt here.
Yeah.
200 million, whatever. But the point of being around that, being in an environment was that big.
Yeah.
Without advice being given. This was the guy not giving me advice. Anything I've told you to do, I've already done it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you what worked for me.
Yeah.
And so watching this guy go through that, I'm like, okay, wait, I just saw 648 million. I just saw him lose 200. And then that really helped me think, hey, you need to start thinking bigger, bud. You need to think where you're in a position, where your cushion's so big, you can lose 200 million. That same night, the guy gave $10 million to the church. to a church project, a philanthropic project. So he lost $200 million and still gave 10 away. That was the big piece for me. Like, okay, he's got enough. He's created enough. He thought big enough. Drop out of college, think big enough to have a score, to pay the taxes, okay, to lose money and still give money away. I said that's the position I want to be.
A lot of money away.
Yeah, a lot of money. A lot of money.
Substantial difference. Yeah.
So those kind of things. Now the other coaching that I do is I read. Like I'll study some guy and I study a guy deep.
Are you still reading a lot?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like I'll read I try to read something every day. Either like I'm reading a spy novel right now. So it's but reading is good for me. It's very very important to read.
What's like the last self-help book or something, nonfiction?
I read,
that you read?
what was the last self-help book I read?
Or just nonfiction, biography or whatever.
A book called Problems of Work.
Problems that work.
Yeah, Problems of Work.
Problems of Work,
Yeah.
okay.
I've read that book about 4 or 5 times.
Okay, I gotta check it out. I haven't read it.
And sometimes what I do is, rather than reading a lot of different people, what I'll do is I'll read the same thing.
Yeah.
To make sure I got it. Sometimes the number of times over is better for me. Like I start getting real understanding as opposed to just surface.
I'm not just saying this, but that's a good thing to do for me with the 10X rule.
Yeah.
Because not only you're going to capture some stuff maybe you didn't see the first time through, but it also gets you in the zone.
Yeah,
and it's a great book for that. And I like Tony Robbins too. He has some books like Awaken the Giant Within, and that's good to go back to.
You know, the thing for me about reading a book a second time or a third time is that the predictability of it. I know the first time you read a chapter 6 of the 10X rule, you don't know what's in it. Second time you read it, you're like, okay, I know where he's going now. Mm-hmm. And I think people don't. One of the reasons the education system I think fails is because all those books are only read once.
Yeah.
You're never going to go back and do a chapter a second time. So how are you going to ever get good at it? I had a ball player in here yesterday. Who was here yesterday, Johnny?
Matt Joyce.
Yeah, Matt Joyce was in here. He's 140 home runs, All-Star, Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
I said, how many swings do you take a year? He's like, we play 200 games, plus practice another 100 days of practice, and he's doing 50 to 100 swings a day. Times
300.
300 times 20 years he's been doing it.
Wow.
Tens of thousands of swings.
Yeah.
So you start getting muscle memory. People are reading. They're reading like one book a year.
Yeah.
You know, there's a guy out there right now that says he doesn't read. He's a successful guy, and he's like, I don't read books. I'm like, okay. Bill does. Billy Boy does.
He should start, right? If
Maybe he should.
I think if someone's successful not reading, then go see what you can do with reading.
Dude, like, how can it hurt you?
It's kind of fun too. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can do audiobooks if you don't really like to read.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy podcasts too.
Yeah.
We're doing a podcast
We're
right
doing
now.
one right
Somebody
now.
is going to hopefully
somebody gets something out of
listen to this and get something out of it. So,
I strongly suggest that if you can ever get around somebody that will show you, somebody's financially successful, not successful on Instagram,
right.
but that is, see, I talk about the money thing a lot, because like, to make money is one thing. To make money and keep it, that's another thing. To make it, keep it, and then multiply it. That's completely another thing. And almost nobody that does that opens their books to people. To like, how did you do it? What like that is important to me. That people not just work their whole life for money, but that you got a little girl that's going to need your help.
Right.
She might need your help after you're gone.
Yeah. And I think it's a good exercise to think about what would you do if money was not an issue.
Yeah.
And if you're independently wealthy, you never have to worry about money again, then what will you do? And go make a list of all of those things that you would like to do and how you'd like to live your life. If you'd like to travel everywhere, or maybe you just want your own house in La Jolla or whatever it may
oasis
be. But
in the backyard.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Hey, at the end of the day, whatever anybody views as their ideal life, not having to worry about money.
Yeah.
You got to reverse engineer it back to
Yeah.
how do you make the money to pay for that? And I mean, I think some level of financial freedom, and maybe not everybody needs $600 million in their bank account to achieve fulfillment in life, right? But you gotta have an understanding of what you do need to get that money and go put it in real estate or in whatever you want to put it in, so it's throwing off 6 to 10% a year, and then you can go live off that and go do what you want to do and impact the world the way you want to impact the world. But you can't sit around and impact the world if you're not paying attention to your money situation. And I didn't discover that until late in life. I mean, not that late, I guess,
no,
but
you're young.
you know, like until my late 30s though.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking that way. I wasn't paying attention to it. So, and now you've continued to teach me about that, and I've taken advice from you, but I had a bunch of stocks I invested in. And
did you sell that junk that I told you to sell? You still hadn't sold it.
I've sold everything except for one, and I can't stomach the loss.
You can't stomach the loss.
And now
man.
I could, of course, lose it all.
See, but here we are. We're still talking about it.
I know.
Here it is, 6 months later.
Yeah, but I mean, tell me your philosophy on this and what you do if you're taking a massive hit now.
You take it and you move on. You quit looking at it.
Yeah.
Like as fast as you can. If you're going to lose a fight, you know, if you're going to get knocked out, there's no reason to go 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to get your nose broke, jaw broke. I watched the fight the other night. Guy had his jaw broke and fought another 2 rounds. You were there?
I was in Vegas, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Colby Covington.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm like, bro, get out of this thing now.
He was complaining about
he told his trainer, he's like, hey, my jaw's broke. And he's like, I need 10 more minutes from you. I need 10 more minutes from you. And the guy almost won the fight, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, look, if you're gonna have a loss, okay, what I don't want to do is keep looking at the loss. You've looked at that loss now. Every day you look at it, you're reminded, I made a bad decision. I made a bad decision. I made a bad decision. That's an affirmation. I make bad decisions. I make bad decisions. I make bad decisions. I made a bad decision. I made a bad decision. Dude, cut it.
Yeah.
Because now it's not on my books anymore. And I don't see it. I'm not reminded of it anymore. It's really important for me not to be reminded of my losses. I know it's popular today to be everybody. I learn more from my failures. I learn everything I've learned from my failure. Dude, I don't want to learn that way. Okay,
Yeah.
It does not take. A wise man learns from the failures of others.
That's
An
right.
idiot learns from his own failures. So I have them. I just want to cut that loss as fast as I can.
Yeah.
So because I keep seeing it show up on my books. Every time we're together, we got to talk about it.
I know.
All you had to say was, dude, I cut it. The first time we were together, you could have cut that thing. We wouldn't be talking about it anymore. It would be out of your universe.
Yeah.
It would be out of the ward.
That's right.
But it's still in the ward, making you crazy.
Yeah, to a
Because you're
certain
like,
extent.
I ain't going to lose money. I ain't going to lose money. It was a bad investment.
Yeah.
The deal, it was a bad investment. There's no reason to keep it as a bad investment, right? It'd be like having a disease and keeping it.
Right.
Fuck it. I ain't getting rid of my cough.
Yeah.
I'm keeping this cough. I got to keep this cough. I got another 6 weeks with this thing. Dude, get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a customer, man. A customer. You got to get over that customer, right? The guy didn't buy. What do? You go replace him with a new customer.
Yeah. Or 10 more customers.
Better to go get 10 more.
Yeah.
Because the 10 get you to forget about the 1.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe sometimes I don't forget about any of them. It's hard for me to shake it, man. You know, like I'm thinking about, like when you talk about your loss, okay, I think about the stock I bought. I bought Lehman at $1. It had come down from 100. I'm like, fuck, I know for sure I'm going to make money.
Go for it.
Huh?
It's Lehman Brothers, right?
$1 million. I lost $1 million.
Yeah. So you bought
Went
a
to
million
zero.
shares of one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went to zero. I was buying a fallen knife. You know, I didn't know what I was doing.
Similar to what I'm in, the situation I'm in.
I didn't know what I was doing. I thought it was a deal. I thought it was cheap. I was buying low. I'm going to sell high. I'm going to take advantage of an opportunity. Bottom line is, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was buying. I should have taken that $1 million and put it in my business.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing in my business.
That's right.
I should have gone out and give that money to a million customers, made another million or 1,000 customers, giving each one of them $10,000 worth of services, or put $1 million on CNBC and advertise. Anything would have been better than buying Lehman.
And put in what you know.
What do I know? That's when I made a decision. No more stocks for me.
Yeah.
I'm not trading paper for paper. I'm going to go buy real estate that I understand, that cash flows, that even if it goes down a little bit, at least it pays me next month.
You still have an asset at the end of the day.
I still got an asset, and I'm not an ass.
Right.
And I got cash flow. I got the flow coming in, so it gives me the confidence. Even if it went down in value, hey, I got a check this month. I got another check this month. I got another check this month. Even if it goes down in value because maybe that location deteriorates or something, 30 years from now, it's paid for. Right. And it paid me while I waited for it to be paid for.
Right.
It's still worth something. It's not zero.
Yeah.
Lehman went to zero.
Yeah. And it's gone.
Yeah.
Something else you taught me, we shifted from weekly sales meetings, which of course we say weekly and then something comes up and it becomes bi-weekly or monthly.
Yeah.
And lots of companies do monthly sales meetings
Gotta do
that's
one.
it.
Got to do 12 a year.
Yeah, 12 a year. Got to hit it.
Got to do one a month.
So I started hanging out around here, and you do daily sales meetings.
We do meetings
here.
Yeah.
And we started doing daily sales meetings back in August, thanks to your advice, and the results have been tremendous. So when did you start doing that? From the get-go, or?
Well, I was doing that when I was 25 years old. When I quit using drugs, I'm like, I got to do something with all my free time.
Yeah. So were you selling cars at that point?
Yeah, I was selling automobiles.
Yeah.
And before that, I'd sold furniture. I'd sold seafood. What else had I sold? Clothes, insurance.
And were you managing?
But I was an amateur. I was an amateur.
Were you managing a sales team when you were 25?
Oh, no. Okay. I've never managed a sales team.
Okay.
I've never been anything more than a salesman.
Yeah.
So I was a salesman, but then when I was 25, I'm like, I need to learn how to sell now.
Yeah.
I'd been a salesman for 6 years, but never learned how to.
Right.
I was just the guy that knew how to shake somebody's hand.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're natural at it to a certain degree. But
I mean, it was a little awkward for me.
Okay.
You know, but like you're really good talking to people, and you have that big guy kind of thing. You know, like you just have this.
I've lost 50 pounds.
No, but I mean big,
I
big,
know,
6 foot.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little dude, and so it was a little awkward for me, and particularly when you're on drugs, it's one thing, because you got that little bit of. You're not yourself.
You don't give a fuck.
You're like, fuck
right.
it. You know, I'm on 10 milligrams of something.
Yeah.
And so you got, you know, which is when you come off the drugs, then you have all these inhibitions that you're aware of. Like you're a walking wound, basically. You're like, you feel everything.
Right.
You say everything's a sensation. You know, and
it's weird.
It's weird, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. So I replaced all that time. So what I did was start educating
It's
myself.
actually like being on drugs when you're not on anything, when you're used to it.
It's
you know?
more like it's more of a stimulation, right? Because you're like, I'm aware of everything going on now.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're on drugs or you're drinking too much, you think the girl thinks you're attractive.
I mean, it's amazing.
You know,
if I go out to...
You think you're funny when you're not.
If I'm at a conference or something, which I used to view as a drunk fest, conferences, and now I don't drink, and you go to them, I mean, you hit at midnight, if I stay up that late, which is rare, I mean, every single person you talk to starts repeating themselves over and over.
And they're talking loud
it's
because their audio
fucking
went out.
insane.
I'm like, why are you talking so loud?
Yeah.
Because I can't hear myself.
Yeah, you feel like you're hallucinating.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on here?
And they're on a tape. They're on a tape.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about my dog?
Telling
Twice.
the same story over and over, and it's not even that good of a story.
It's terrible.
But I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, it happens, and
and
every
you got to
time.
put up with it. You got to put up with it.
You go to any even if we go to if we're at 10X Growth Con in Vegas.
There's very little drinking at 10X.
If I see you,
very little.
There's going to be that midnight crowd in Vegas where there's going to be some repeating.
The last time we did Vegas, we did a bar, the Light.
Yeah. 2,200
people were in the Light. The most that had ever been in that club.
Yeah.
Ever. Was the least amount of alcohol they ever sold.
Really?
They're like,
everybody's
your audience
there
is like, we thought they were going to be pounded tequila all night.
Yeah.
But they're trying to 10X their laps.
Right. They don't go hand in hand.
You know, not very well. No. So anyway, I was 25. What I started doing every morning was I invested $3,000 in some tapes, and I'd listen to this guy teach people how to sell.
Who?
It was his name was Jackie Cooper.
Okay.
He was a Southern guy. He could have been anybody.
Yeah.
This guy was really good though. Like he knew, man, he had broken down the logic of purchasing something.
Yeah.
And I needed anything. I needed a track to run on.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing, man. I thought, okay, I'm gonna go out there and get somebody to like me. I don't even know what that means.
Right.
Like, they're not buying me. You know, if you're selling real estate, they're buying the real estate. They're not buying you. If you're selling jets,
Yeah.
oh, they got to like you. They need to kind of like the jet.
Right.
And they need to have them on the right jet that they can buy, that serves their needs and that they can afford. So I was just confused. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, give me a golf club, give me a two iron. I don't know what to do with it, or a hammer.
Yeah.
Man, if you don't know how to hit a nail, it's gonna be ugly. And I didn't know how to sell. So I felt like I was using too much force with everybody. Mm-hmm. And so every morning I would watch an hour of this tape, and then on the way to work I would listen to an audio program. And then when I got to my office, I would role play every single day. That was my ritual.
Who would you role play with?
Another guy named Mike Porter.
Yeah.
Because nobody else would role play with me because they thought it was stupid. So I would watch a video.
It's easy to say role playing stupid. It's very uncomfortable to do. So you want to just say,
everybody role
no
plays.
thanks.
Yeah, everybody role plays.
Yeah.
You role play with customers.
Yeah.
You're just wrong person to role play with.
Right.
You know, it's like making out first time. You know, you're role playing. You're terrible. It's better to watch TV and say, okay, how's he making his moves? You know, I remember doing that, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's actually emulating something, right?
Yeah.
So that's what role playing did for me. Like, any objection I was having trouble with, I need to think about it, you know, or I got another supplier.
Yeah.
And then I would work through, how does my face, like, how do I even handle that objection when somebody says, man, Grant, this is great, awesome, thank you so much for leave all this with me, I'll get back with you the first quarter. And then I'm like, I have to get this under control.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so that's what I would practice every day. I've been doing that for now all my staff do it, my salespeople do it. They're required to do it, have to do it. You don't do it, you don't work here.
Yep. We do Cardone University now, and 3 segments every morning, but we're not doing role playing.
Yeah,
really. We're doing like an elevator pitch in each of our sales meetings. So one guy or gal will tell, you know, you go through what our elevator speech is, like what do we do, what's the value proposition. And
how many guys you got now?
We've got 4 total on the team.
We should get them to our boot camp.
And I think we're gonna have a 5th start in January. Yeah. I'm definitely there. 2 of us are coming to boot camp. To check it out in the summer. And then I think 3 of us are gonna be at Growth Con.
Okay.
So check that out. And but yeah, I mean, there's no doubt I want to continuously improve and take it to the next level. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Well, let's blow 2020 up, man.
Yeah, 2020 is the year.
Okay.
Right?
Let's go. I mean, seriously, okay? Because I can't have you. I need like, what's the biggest year you've ever had?
Last year, 2018.
Okay. How big was that?
It was, the whole team that we were working with, we busted 3 million.
Yeah, well, let's go do 10 million this. Can we do 10?
10 million in 2020?
No. Sounds good.
It sounds really good.
Well, is it going to be done?
Is it
going to be done?
Everything's possible. Everything's possible.
Will 10 million be done in your industry?
Yes.
In the whole industry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Extreme. I mean, I would say definitely the top 1%.
No, but I'm talking about the whole industry.
Of commercial real estate brokerage.
Yeah. Will $10 million be done?
Oh, yeah.
How many billions? Will be exchanged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, I'm talking fees. So
I'm talking fees too.
Yeah.
So we just back into it. If billions are going to be done, if we pull off 10 million, it's possible in your market.
Yeah.
In your market.
Yeah.
Now we just got to add the people. Got to reverse engineer the deal. Figure out how many people we need, how many phone calls.
And it is people.
And can you stay focused on that long enough?
Yeah. And that's where you told me to put my money, is put it in the people. Put it in the team.
No, instead you got it in that damn.
I know.
That piece of garbage investment you made.
I hope
It's paid for, by the way. This paid for. All you're doing is recovering that money.
Yeah.
What's that thing worth?
What's it worth?
Yeah.
Today?
What's it worth today? If you dumped it today.
Let me think, like 300.
You'd be making 300. That's the way to think about it. Not you're losing 700. You're
Take 300 and make 300.
You made 300. You just recovered 300. Take that money, invest in your business.
Yeah.
And see if you can get a 10x return on it next year. 300 turn it into 3 million. You got a better chance of making 3 million out of that 300 in your business than you do the 300 going to 3 million in that investment.
Yeah.
Shift.
Yeah. Make the shift. That one's been tough for me.
Yeah,
it's
I know you just
it's a
holding on to
Band-Aid
it.
that's on there with super glue.
I don't know why. Let somebody else do it for you then.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Everybody wants to change without giving something up. Nobody wants to have the loss.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to take the loss sometimes. You know, that's what makes the victor, not the failures. I got to be able to take the loss, and then okay, how do I make that back up again? It's something where I have control. You just don't have any control in that deal.
Zero. That's the worst part about it.
You know how to give stuff up though, dude. You gave up the drug. You gave up the alcohol. Your friend.
Yeah.
Your friend Bud.
My old friend Bud.
That's what
we
the
go
dude's
way
name,
back.
Bud. So you just got to give up that loss and or not, you know, whatever. You know.
Right.
If I was a really good coach, I'd make you. I'd be like, I'm not seeing you again until you make the loss. Until you take the loss. I told you that the first time, by the way. You got to do this. Every time we've talked about this.
It's gotten easier to come back to you. The first time I came back to you after that, I did not even want to come back and tell you.
What's the biggest challenge in your industry? When you look at the other guys that are similar to you, what's their biggest challenge?
I mean, I think the challenge in our industry, and just to remind you and anyone who's listening what we do, we're representing what my team does. We specialize in representing occupiers of industrial real estate or supply chain real estate. So companies that occupy, lease, or buy distribution facilities or manufacturing facilities, typically. So working with these companies, historically, you think of real estate brokers, they're really a commodity, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's being a commodity, people, and I mean, competitors of mine still to this day are going around chasing lease expirations and they're talking about rent, and our clients don't think about, I mean, rent typically could be 4% of their overall supply chain costs, and transportation's 50% of the cost. Uh-huh. So it's really getting in, helping these companies to do more than just negotiate a good deal on rent or a good per square foot purchase on a building, but truly understand their business, understand where does this facility need to be in North America, and where's your inbound transportation come from, where's your outbound transportation going, how are you going to lay out the facility, what type of material handling equipment are you going to use. So I mean, I think everyone's struggling with really trying to understand the business of the supply chain, and with e-commerce, it's growing, and getting in there and understanding all these major shifts that have led to hundreds of millions of square feet of industrial space that's been built, right? I mean, it's supply chain, logistics real estate, and what you're doing, multifamily real estate. They're the two hottest asset classes. Yeah. And it's because my space, it's e-commerce is really driving it, because everybody wants everything now. My Uber ride to your office today, she just quit her job at Amazon last Friday and telling me about working there. She said it was brutal. And
wow.
I mean, they work them really hard. And I mean, she said they work us to death.
The demand
They're
by
picking.
Amazon to...
You think every product that you want in your life, they have it on a shelf in Miami right now to go get it. And then they have a lot of people in there working. They're investing in more and more automation to do this picking, but it's still going to require lots of people. And it's a hard job, man. And walking through some of these big distribution centers, I toured Nike's in Memphis. It's 2.5 million square feet.
Wow.
You walk a marathon like just going through there for half a shift, you know, and it's crazy. And so that's being driven by e-commerce. And then tell me, I mean, I guess I wanted to ask, do you ever see yourself diversifying outside of multifamily? And then and if so, would you look into logistics real estate? And but above all, why are you so gung-ho on multifamily? And we've talked about it, but I'd love to hear it again.
Right now I'm trying to get that to $10 billion. So if I go off into, you know, logistics real estate today and start, you know, it's just going to it's just going to mix up my story. So I'm just trying to keep my story focused right now because, you know, we're just repeating that activity. It's enough just to go from $2 billion to we'll be at $2 billion by March.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So to go from $2 billion to $10 billion, if I had industrial now, like I got to go do some homework.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to stay focused.
Yeah.
And that was the other benefit of spending some time with that guy. He was extremely focused. There was only a handful of things he looked at. Everything else, he's like, don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
No. Almost closed-minded. So to a degree, you can be so open-minded. I know everybody's like, I want to be open-minded. Yeah, but you're so open-minded, your parachute won't even work. It's wide open. Like it's wide open. It won't even catch air.
And I'm pretty good at that, especially if I have a buddy that wants to open a bar. They know I'm a commercial real estate broker. They call me. I used to go say, yeah, I can help because hey, it might be $5,000 and going to pay the minimum on my credit card while I was starving to death.
Yeah.
And but waste so much time doing it.
Money,
so I'm pretty good at that. But even now, doing what I'm doing, corporate tenant rep, I'll get a call. Hey, I've got $100 million. I want to invest it in Dallas in industrial real estate, and I want to go work with that person, but and it's harder. I mean, now we're still talking industrial real estate. I kind of know it, but that's kind of like a whole nother asset class if you're repping a buyer of investment properties versus repping a tenant.
Dude, when I'm looking at deals,
you just want to hammer down on what you know.
What's my target?
Yeah.
Like, what's my target? Sometimes people are doing their job. They forgot what the target is.
Yeah.
So your target, my target's $10 billion. Okay, I can't get there looking at a 6-unit deal. So a guy sends me, I got a 6-unit deal in Tennessee. Well, dude, I'm not doing Tennessee today. Okay, I'm doing these 5 states right now. I don't care. You're going to make so much money on this deal. I don't care. I got a trailer park in Fort Myers. Okay. Oh my God, Grant, you're going to make $200,000, dude. I don't care if I'm going to make $2 million. It's not my target is over here. Yeah. I can't play every game.
It may as well be Lehman stock, right?
Whatever. It's no. That's what it is. It's no.
No.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
They send me the email. Delete. Hey, I got a Bitcoin investment. You're going to make good. Delete. Like, unless you're giving me Bitcoin and I don't have to do anything, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not researching it. I'm not checking it out. Hey, man, I got this cannabis operation. It's going to be amazing. It's in California. I'm not touching California. There's nothing about California I'm going to, because it dilutes my story and my energy. So I just need my energy focused on my deal. If your deal's, hey, I'm going to do $10 million next year, that's all the team needs to hear about. Hey guys, we're going to do 800. What would that be? 10 million. 10 million's what? 800,000 in fees.
I mean, on average,
800,000 a month.
Yeah.
200,000 a week. 30,000 a day. Are we on track? How many?
January's coming fast. We better get this
ready.
This machine ready.
If people aren't starting right now, if they're not starting right now, January's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
You got to start thinking right now. How you end the year is how you're going to start next year.
Yeah.
So I'm on my guys every day right now. These last 2 weeks of the year, I'm on them every day saying, hey, what's our number? What's our number? What's our number today? Okay? Oh man, goddamn, we've done 3 million. I don't give a shit what we've done. What's up, Johnny? I don't care what we've done, dude. What are we doing today? What are we doing today? Press right now. I got to finish fast. I got to finish hard, because if I don't, I know what I'm gonna start sloppy.
Yeah.
So you need to be in there pushing your guys right now. You need 10 people.
That's something else you've been telling me
over
for a few sessions now.
Like, come on, man.
It's hard to go. It's been tough for me to go.
That's why you
hire
say you're
10
my
people.
coach right now. Like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
You're my coach right now. Like, you're going to get rid of me. We should be up. You should be up this year. 18 shouldn't be your biggest year. 19 should be your biggest year, but it's not. So you got distracted. Now, I know you had a couple setbacks, family, but that's what the 10X rule says.
Yeah.
You're not planning. I'm not saying you're not, but I'm saying the viewer, you guys are underestimating what it takes to win. Because, do they know the story about your daughter?
No. I mean, some people do. I'm very open about it. So,
yeah. So there's going to be setbacks.
So last year, November, my daughter, 4.5 years old at the time, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And
he didn't have that on your target, did you?
No, that was not on the target list. Did you and the
wife have that budgeted?
Yeah.
Hey, this bad shit's going to happen to good people?
No.
That's what happens.
And and we were just talking like what happened last year, and I mean, I think that's a clear something that happened in my personal life that has had a major emotional impact on me, like looking at my shitty stock investment and how that impacts me, nothing compared to a sick child and
every day
and all of that.
Having to make that
and you think about it, and it's you know, a lot. I mean, managing it and learning about it, and it's a day-to-day thing. It's not handing a pill every day. It's giving a 4-year-old 6 shots a day and counting how many carbs she eats.
Yeah.
And granted, first thing when I'm in the hospital and she's in the emergency room, and I mean, first thing, you know, when you're in a children's medical center that it can be way worse than type 1 diabetes. So you're grateful for that. But there's just no doubt, like, we gotta keep our eye on it. We're responsible for her, and she can't go manage it herself at this point in her life, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
And that reminds me, you know, like, just the little things that it throws the whole thing off. You're driving on the way over here, and the taxi gets in a wreck.
Seriously.
Nobody plans on this stuff. Like, how does this happen to me? Why is this happening to me right now? The plane's late. You know, all the stuff that happens. Trump's getting impeached. I don't know what that's going to do to the thing. You know, but it's all these little distractions. My little girl today, my 10-year-old, she's not compared to what you're going through, but she's going through this moment because we took a telephone from her. So she's freaking out right now. Like, she's like, my life is terrible. Like, I don't want my kid having that moment. And it's just enough to distract somebody from being on their game every day.
What did she do for you to take her phone away from her?
The phone was about, we should have never given her a phone.
Yeah.
You know, these devices are connected to all the terrible things in the universe.
My daughter has a phone to deal with because she has a device that measures her blood sugar.
Yeah.
So she has to have her phone. Thankfully, I can go look and see what her blood sugar is right now from Miami, and she's in Dallas.
Yeah.
But man, she definitely is addicted to the fucking phone.
TikTok. My daughter's on TikTok the other day. I'm like, hey, you can't have this phone. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I see stuff on social media. I'm like, I'm not even ready for this.
Right.
I was happily married yesterday. Happily married. And then all of a sudden I start seeing stuff. I'm like, oh my God. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I remember I used to have to go to the store and buy that magazine. Couldn't even get that good of stuff. Now it's just coming at you constantly. And all kinds of crazy stuff. What your competition's doing. Somebody else is doing great. Like, there's so many distractions today. It's like, hey, take the phone away. I took it from her. I ought to not use it myself. Nobody's ready for these devices.
No.
Because the distraction, see, it goes back to that the goal. You know, I mean, the only good thing about that phone, when I watch it, I'm like, man, you're getting distracted. So is all your competition, bro.
And you're good at taking people's attention away and driving. I mean, once I started following you, the feeds of the Instagram models went out, and I could just see 10x.
Dude, you got the same kind of eyes as this guy. You know that?
Yeah.
Dude, you got the brows and stuff.
That's the $10 million gorilla right there. So I got to go there.
Yeah, you got to go there.
2020,
Let's do this.
baby.
Let's do this. This will be a great story for me to tell people that you did the ward. The ward.
What is it today?
Huh?
December 19th?
Yeah, today is the 19th.
December 19th, 2019.
10 days before your 4 years of sobriety.
So December 20th, 2020, I need to come back in here and have,
dude, I hit 10 million.
busted 10 million.
Let's say you don't do 10. Let's say you do 4. Still twice the best year you've ever had.
Yeah.
But the target should be 10.
Yeah.
Dude, I got targets. I woke up this morning, I'm like, we're not gonna hit our target for this one thing I'm doing. So every day I'm coming in, I'm not gonna hit that target. I gotta press right now, I gotta push harder. Like, I do not lower the target, ever. Maybe this is the takeaway for your viewer.
Yeah, let's
Never drop the target.
Yeah.
You can increase the target, don't drop the target.
And let's
increase the activity.
Let's end on this. Like, when you're waking up in the morning to accomplish your goals, you've accomplished massive goals. What's your ritual?
Well, this morning I broke my ritual. I was depressed. I'm like, man, I'm. You ever sleep in, bro? Just pull the sheets over your head.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's gonna happen, right?
It is. Like everybody listens to all these motivational guys, the inspirational guys. Like, guys act like they didn't ever have a bad day. Dude, like, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't work out this morning.
You said the ward's coming. I got to do this.
I didn't beat the sun up. I didn't get my workout in. My daughter came to me. Papa, do you know it's Thursday? What are you doing? Right. I have that day.
Yeah.
But I have a calendar. I got my assistant hit me. You got this and this and this and this. I'm like, okay, let's roll. And that's the beauty of having stuff on your calendar.
Yeah.
Like I need commitments to get me up.
Yeah.
And then once I get up, I'm glad, right? And then I'm like, okay, I got this event, the 10X Growth Conference. We have 60 days left to sell it out. I got to hustle.
Yeah.
I don't want to be embarrassed. You know, I don't want empty seats in a room.
Right.
That's the one thing I do not want.
Yeah.
I do not want to walk into a stadium
Yeah.
and there's empty seats. That's embarrassing. Forget the money, dude.
You want it electrified.
Dude, I don't want every seat filled. I don't want people looking around saying, man.
Every seat filled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elvis used to do this thing, you know. He's like, I don't even care how much money. Just talk to the colonel about the money. I don't want any empty seats.
Yeah.
And make sure my people are up front, not the rich people. And that's kind of like me. I went to the governor's mansion the other night 2 nights ago, and as soon as I got there, I looked around. I'm like, these aren't my people, dude. Ward's my people.
I appreciate that.
You know, Ward's my people, man. It's not politics. Okay, thank you, bro. Thank you for coming in, man. Hey, you guys, increase the activity. He can do it. Help him do it. Help him get to 10 million this year.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
I need someone to help me find a brand new attitude. I need someone to lend me a little bit of latitude. I wish someone would tell me what the hell I'm supposed to do. Then the voice in my gut kicked me in the butt and said I'm the only one you need to listen to. Then my soul told me I'm the only one to listen to. And I'm trucking on. And I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line. Another town will do me fine. I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. I tried to run away like a freight train with no track. I tried to escape like a convict leaving Alcatraz. I prayed every day for a cachet I could never have. My bad decisions catalyzed the best ideas I've ever had. Bad decisions catalyzed the best ideas I've ever had. And I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line. Another town will do me fine. I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. Yeah. So much shame when I share my little lies. No one left to blame until I stare into these eyes. I'm gonna tell the truth to you till I break on through to the other side. Living like I'm gonna die is the only time I feel alive. Living like I'm gonna die is the only time I feel alive. And I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line. Town will do me fine. I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. And I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line. Another town will do me fine. I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on.